Good morning, third graders, or maybe afternoon. I don't know when you're doing this lesson. This is Miss Fiddler here. I'm hoping that this video today is a bit on the shorter side. I know sometimes my videos go a bit long. I don't have a lesson from our Bridges curriculum for you today. Instead, I just have one practice problem we're gonna try. And then I have a couple of pieces of information for you about Dreambox. And then you guys will have some time to get that started. So your warm-up question for the day is simply this. Now you've had questions like this in your yellow workbook, and I know yesterday Mrs. Avy's lesson kind of went over some of this, but I've been noticing that this is something that some of us need to keep practicing. So I have given you a shape here. Okay, it's not a perfect rectangle, so keep that in mind, and I'm giving you some dimensions. And I first want you to figure out what the perimeter of this shape is, and then I want you to figure out what the area of this shape is. All right, I'm going to go over this right away in the video, so instead of waiting till the end of the lesson. So right now, guys, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try solving this. All right, you may press play once you think you found the perimeter and the area of this shape. All right, so hopefully you took the time to do that. You're not just forging ahead. This is something that all of us third grade teachers want you guys to be able to figure out. All right, so first to find the perimeter of this shape, as you guys know, as you should know by now, the perimeter is the distance around a shape. Okay, now I'm looking at the shape and I'm noticing it has actually 6 sides. So this is a hexagon because it has 6 sides. Now I know that when I'm finding perimeter, I need to add up the sides, but one thing I'm noticing is that I am missing some information over here. I've been told what 4 of the side lengths are, but I don't know what these 2 are right here. So the first thing I need to do is actually figure out what those side lengths are. Now I need to use the information that's already been given to me to help me figure it out. So first I'm going to figure out what this side length is. Now to figure that out, I need to use the information up here and the information down here. I know that if I'm going from here to here, it is a 9-inch, the side is 9 inches long. But down here, the side is only 7 inches from one end to the other. So I have this extra little distance that I need to go. Now remember, in a rectangle, opposite sides are the same length. So if this were completed, this longer side, or if this was the same length as the top line, it'd be 9 inches. So if this is 7 inches, how much is missing here? 2 inches. So this little bit right here that I outlined in red, this is 2 inches right there. All right, so that's how I found that dimension. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of erasing. I'm doing a lot of drawing on here. All right, next I need to figure out what this side length is. I'm gonna do that one in green. What is this side length? Now to figure this one out, I'm going to use this information and this information. I know that from here to here is 6 inches. The longer side is 6 inches. The shorter side here from here to here is only 3 inches. So just like I did with the top and bottom lines, if I'm looking left and right, if this whole length right here is 6 inches and this little bit is 3, I need to imagine, what if this line were continued down? It would be, I kind of have to think of like 6 minus 3, or how much more do I need to get to 6? And that is 3. So this little bit right here is 3 inches. All right, now that I've figured out what all my side lengths are equal to, I can find the perimeter. So to do that, remember, we're going to add up our lengths. So I like to just make sure I like to go around in kind of like a path, so I make sure I don't forget anything. So I'm going to add 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 7 plus 6. All right, and that's going to get me my perimeter. Now, you may have added this up in various different ways. I like to chunk my numbers into easier numbers to add them together that way. So like I see a 3 and a 7, and I know that equals 10. So I've used up those 2 numbers. I'm just going to add the 9 to that right away. And that's going to get me 19. And let's see, I know 3 plus 2 is 5. And then I have this 6 over here. Let's see, 5 plus 6 is 11. So if I do 19 plus 11, that is going to get me 30. And then we always want to make sure that we are labeling our answer. So in a perimeter answer, we label it with what we were measuring in. So in this case, we were measuring in inches. If I had been measuring this in centimeters, I would write down centimeters as my label instead. But since I'm dealing with inches, we're going to write 30 inches. Okay, now let's take some time to figure out the area. Now, if this were a perfect rectangle, if this little chunk wasn't missing, I could just take the length times the width and voila, I have my area. But remember that we don't have a perfect rectangle here. We have this chunk missing. So there's a couple different ways that you could go about finding the area of this shape. I'm just going to show you one. And if you solved it a different way than me, I want you guys to let me know what that is so you could take a picture of it and email it to me. And even if you're not in my class, you could do that. I'm just interested to see all the different ways you guys are solving this. Okay. So what I'm going to actually want to do is split this weird looking shape into actual rectangles so I can do length times width. So I'm going to be finding the area of two smaller rectangles. Okay, so there's a couple different ways we could split it. I'm actually going to split it this way. So I'm going to have a tiny little rectangle here, and I'm going to do that one in blue. And then I guess I'll do my other one in green. I'm going to have this larger rectangle that I'm going to outline in green. Okay, so let's do the blue one first. So if I'm looking at this small, tiny little blue rectangle, I need to figure out what is the length and what is the width. Now, I have a bunch of different numbers around here, so I need to really think, how long is this height or this dimension, and how long is this dimension? Well, if I look here, this tall, the height of it, I can see that's 3 inches. So one of my dimensions is 3. And then I need to figure out what to multiply that by. Am I going to multiply it by the 9 or the 2 or the 7? Well, it's not very long of a length, and we did figure out earlier that this little bit right here is only 2 inches. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 2. Those are the dimensions of this smaller rectangle. And 3 times 2 is 6. So the area of this tiny little rectangle I've outlined in blue is 6 inches squared. Now I need to find the area of the larger rectangle. Well, I can tell that the height is 6. But now, what is my length? Now I have a 9 up here and I have a 7 down here. So I know our first instinct might just be oh, I need to do 6 times 9. But remember, the 9 inches is when I'm going from here all the way over to here. And I've already used up this little bit right here. I'm going to use this dimension, this label down here to help me. This top part is still 7 inches because 9 inches is all the way across. But I know that from this point to this point, it is definitely 7 inches. So I'm going to go 6 times 7. And I know that 6 times 7 is 42. So the area of this rectangle is 42 inches squared. Now I need to add my two little areas together to figure out what the whole figure is. So I'm going to do 42 plus 6. And I know that 42 plus 6 is 48 inches squared. Now remember, when we're labeling with area, we need to make sure we're writing down what we've measured in. So in this case, we're measuring in inches. And then I also need to square it. Now we can also write it 48 square inches, or even some of you might write 48 inches square. All three of those are correct, but that squaring is very important because it's talking about how if I were to draw little inch by inch squares, I'd be able to fit 48 of them into this figure. Okay, so perimeter, we just label what we measured in. In area, we label with what we measured in and that idea of squaring. Okay, so that's how we can find the area of a shape that's not a perfect rectangle. All right. Now you'll have noticed on your assignment page that you got from your teacher today that one of the things you need to do is to go onto Dreambox. Now some of you have heard of Dreambox, some of you have been on Dreambox before, some of you have even been doing Dreambox throughout this school year already. All right, now this is just a screenshot of what something might look like, and I'll talk about this in a second. But to get onto your Dreambox account, And you may have discovered this already. If you go onto your Chromebook, you can type in Dreambox up there, but actually your toolbar looks a little bit different than mine. But up in the corner, you're going to have this button that says like Menominee Falls apps or School District of Menominee Falls apps. If you click that, a little drop down menu is going to come down, and one of the things you can click is Dreambox. So Dreambox has already been bookmarked for you, and that's where you find it. If I click mine, that's not going to happen because my computer is different than yours. All right, but that's where you can find it. You're going to need to log in. Now, your login information, your username and password are the same username and password that you use to log onto your Chromebook. Okay. Now, if you've been using Dreambox this school year already, or possibly even if you used it in a previous year, your login is going to be different. So if you've already been logging in this year, just keep using that same login. That has not changed for you. If you're trying to log in and it's not working, you need to contact your teacher and they will let you know what your username and password are. Okay, because some of yours, especially if you use Dreambox in like first or second grade, you might still have an old username and password. Don't worry, we will figure it out if you don't have it. All right, I just wanted to show you guys this really quick because when you're in Dreambox, you're going to notice there's lots of different lessons that you guys can do. Okay, so you're going to log in. There's going to be a little video for you to watch if it's your first time on. And there's going to be like these little boxes of things that you guys can click. And for right now, you guys can just choose a box that you think looks interesting and and start doing the activity. At the beginning of an activity, there's going to be some directions, okay? And they're going to teach you how to use the different tools in that activity. So every activity has a different tool that you're going to be using. Now, I was watching a video earlier today that was talking about number lines. Now, we've used number lines a lot in class. So this is just teaching you how to use the number line in Dreambox and how that all works, okay? So as you can see here, like where I stopped the video, that we were at 48 and I had to add 30, and then I had to type my answer in this box, and then I would click this check mark button. Okay, so sometimes you'll be clicking like okay and things like that, okay? If you need help during the lesson, up in the corner, there's this orange question mark. If you click that, that's like a help button, they will give you a hint, or they might help you out with or they might tell you what to try to figure this out, okay? Your teachers and I really want to encourage you to try to do the lessons by yourself. If you need to ask an adult or someone older than you for a little bit of help, that's okay. But we really want to know what you can figure out, not what your parents can help you figure out, okay? Now, there's lots of different lessons, and a lesson is consisted of, there might be lots of different steps you have to do. Some lessons are going to be really quick. They might be just a couple minutes. Other lessons might take you a little bit longer to do, okay? And this bar at the bottom that you can see, it's partially green. This is going to show you how far into your lesson you are. And once it's all the way green, you're done with the lesson. So as you can see in this, I'm like a little over a third of the way done with this lesson, okay? Now your teachers and I are asking that you spend at least 15 minutes a day on Dreambox when we assign it to you. So for today, we're asking that you log in and spend at least 15 minutes. You can do more if you want. That's totally fine with us, but at least 15. Okay. One other little tip is, even if your 15 minutes are up and you're not done with the lesson, take the time to finish the lesson. So as you can see right here, I'm not done with this lesson. If I were to leave and exit and go on to some other schoolwork, or if I was done for the day and I went outside and played or something, the next time I log into Dreambox, I would have to start this whole lesson all the way over. Okay, so you need to finish a lesson for it to be saved. If you don't finish, you'll start from the beginning the next time you log in. Okay. I think that's all I have for Dreambox. If you have any other questions, make sure you are asking your teacher for some help. Okay. So here are your assignments for the day. Like I said, you need to complete at least 15 minutes on Dreambox today. And then you also have your pink book pages 115 through 116 that you need to complete, and then take your pictures and insert them on your math slides. Okay, make sure the pictures are nice and clear. Remember, taking a picture of the top half of a page and then the bottom half of the page really helps your teachers see the work that you've been doing. All right, if you hold them too far away from the camera, we can't see the awesome work that you've done. All right, so have fun on Dreambox, and remember, ask us if you have any questions.